Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the Morning Mindset. It's time for you and I to get our minds aligned with the truth of God. And I hope you understand what I mean when I say that. You see, God's truth, as explained to us in the scriptures, is the way things are. It's reality in its truest sense. And for us to live rightly in this world means we need to be thinking along the lines of that reality. And so every day when we wake up, we need to push out of our minds the things that would distract us from that truth or lead us away from it and get our minds aligned with that truth. And that's what the Morning Mindset is here to do. We are right in the midst of a few episodes here at the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020. Happy New Year, by the way. It is January 1st. I hope you are off to a great start. And we're doing this series about a 2020 reset, looking toward the new year. And actually, my daughter pointed out to me today, it's a new decade that we have to live in light of the Lord's presence in our lives. And so I want to give you some challenging thoughts regarding the year ahead and how you would be thinking about that. And today, I want to do so by looking at the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter number 9. This passage comes in at a point where Paul has been talking a lot about the freedom he has in Christ and the role he has as an apostle. And all of that was used in this passage to basically support his authority and the means by which God had revealed to him all the truths that he had taught. And he was doing so to point out to the Corinthians that his word could be trusted because it was the very words of God. So we're picking up in verses 19 through 23, right in that area where Paul is talking about how he became whatever he needed to become in order to make the gospel able to be heard to those who were hearing it from his lips. So he says, though I am free from all, I've made myself a servant to all, that I might win more of them. To the Jews, I became as a Jew in order to win Jews. To those under the law, I became as one under the law, though not being myself under the law, that I might win those under the law. To those outside the law, I became as one outside the law, not being outside the law of God, but under the law of Christ, that I might win those outside the law. To the weak, I became weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things to all people, that by all means I might save some. I do it all for the sake of the gospel, that I may share with them in its blessings. Now, I don't believe Paul is saying you should just conform to every whim of the culture or be a people pleaser in the sense of flattery and those kinds of things just to win a hearing. What he is saying is that he worked really hard not to be a distraction to the message of the gospel. He worked very hard to learn the language, so to speak, of the people he was trying to present the gospel to. So if those were people who were Jews and were under Jewish law, he tried to appeal to them on that basis. If there were people who did not have the Jewish law, he tried to appeal to them in light of things in their culture that he understood and that he could use as examples to present the gospel in a way that they would understand. He says to the weak, he became weak that he might win them. He became all things to all people. What Paul's trying to say is that the gospel message is what is of paramount importance. That is not to be compromised. But our message of delivery, our method of delivery rather, can be changed. It can be tweaked and modified. And I'm thankful for that. Because one of the means we have at our disposal these days is that the means of technology. I mean, we have video, we have audio, we have the internet, we have email, all of these things. And we're able to use those things to pass the message out to people wherever they are in the world. And so what does that mean for you coming up here in 2020? Well, you no doubt rub shoulders with people all day long, every day, who come from different places. They have different backgrounds, different cultures, different ways of looking at the world. And to follow Paul's example, I think we can take a page from his book and start investigating those people's backgrounds, finding out what it is that we can find a place of commonality so that we might show them the gospel of Christ in the very truest sense. So what does that mean for you this year? Who around you might you be able to begin prayerfully considering reaching out to for the sake of the gospel? Join me again tomorrow for the Morning Mindset.